Okay, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. It's Tuesday, November 11th, the 6:30 p.m. budget meeting. Welcome, everybody. We do have regrets from Councillor Longo. Are there any other regrets from members of the council? None? Okay. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest, members of the council? I see none. Very well. We do not have any consent items or confidential consent items. We do have the discussion item, which is the 2026 operating and capital budget delegations this evening, and we do have three requests for delegations, and so we're going to work our way through that before calling from the floor in the event that there's anybody else. And in order, they are Joanne Cornell, Franz Fournier, and Rafael Correa de Silva. Joanne, if you're in the audience here, you're welcome to join us. You have up to 10 minutes. We understand that you have a presentation, which I think our staff can get up for you. And if you want to move the mic over, then everybody online would be able to hear you too.
I'm comfortable with it there.
I'm sorry?
If you can hear me, I'm comfortable with it being there.
No, we can't hear you well enough, and there are both members of the public and members of the council that are online this evening, and they will not be able to hear you if you do not speak into the mic, so please use the microphone.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Chairperson Adams, Vice Chairperson McNeese, Mayor Burton, and councilors. Good evening. My name is Joanne Cornell, and I'm here as a self-appointed representative for the Gladeside Pond community. So I think the gentleman there is dealing with the slides. Oh, there it is. Okay, so slide number 2, please. So why am I here? Well, I'm here to ask for money. I'm here to ask for money to rehabilitate the Gladeside Pond community and also to ask for commitment to the betterment of the pond. So let's move on to slide number 3. Okay, so where are we? So we're east of Nayagawa at Dundas, and I've defined the community as running along Dundas Street West, going north to Trailside Drive, Lane 132 running east to west, and Gladeside Avenue itself, and you see the pond right there. So next slide, please. So this is number 4. Who we are and where we are. So we've got 791 residential units running from Dundas Street West, going north on Trailside Drive, before we hit 16 Mile Drive, so that's 791 residential units. Now, I know that for Oakville is fond of referring to north of Dundas as rural, but there's nothing rural about the way we look. So next slide, please. So basically, I'm showing where the units are. So that's 791. Let's move on. So what I'm doing here with the next slides, thank you so much, is showing what we look like. So we've got 395, 405, go to the left, you see GP, that's Green Park, yet to be developed. Next, please. And we can run the slides one after the other here because I'm just showing pictures of the residences. One more, please. There you go, Lane 132 and 3045 Gladeside. So at this point, I want us to take a closer look. My argument is that the look of the pond invites disrespect because it's just not taken care of. So we've got bread slices right in the middle. I've seen potato slices. I have seen apples. I suspect it's the restaurants at the Market Dundas Square, which is right across the street. They're just dumping their stuff there. To the left, we've got wooden slabs. They're just dropped off there. And to the right is what I call a front lawn artistic expression. Somebody started a landscaping project and just killed it. Next slide, please. So again, the middle one, I really like that one. So basically we had sod put in. At the pond setting, all the sod died, so they had to be replaced. So now that the vegetation is thinning out because of the winter conditions coming on, I noticed that the workers just picked up the dead sod and threw it right there among the trees. The one to the right speaks for itself. Let's keep going, please. Oh, back up one. Gravel is us. So, we'll play on words here. We've got gravel dominance, gravel dump, more gravel dump, and gravel and weeds fighting for territory. We don't have asphalt, we don't have concrete, we've just got gravel. And you can see to the slide to the left, that piece of sod that just died. You don't water grass, it's going to die. So, next slide, please. It's what I refer to as the have. So I have visited these 8 ponds. I've taken pictures, I've analyzed the look of them. I refer to them as the haves, by implication where the have not. So let's keep going, please.
Sorry, Mr. Chair, I cannot hear when the delegate moves away from the microphone.
Sorry.
I can't hear anything here, so I
Thank you,
apologize.
Councillor O'Meara. So that's just a reminder that we really do need you to use the microphone.
Yes,
and if you
my
can-
apologies.
yeah.
Okay, so I think a little bit of fun here. Preserve Pond, George Savage Pond, and Gladeside Pond. This is how close we are. So let's move to the next one, please. So this is George Savage. Next is Preserve. Next slide is Preserve, please. Now we're going to Gladeside. I know that Oakville likes to refer to itself as the most livable community in Canada. And I'm sure if you were to run a promotional campaign, I can lend those pictures to you right there, showing what we look like, which is not the Oakville treatment. Next slide, please. I had a little bit of fun there too. I went to George Savage and Preserve, and I listed all of the amenities and how many there are. And we're striking out a Gladeside every single time. So let's move on, please, to the next slide. So just to show you what gazebo looks like, what a garden bridge looks like, and the benches, 24 benches between those 2 ponds. Next, please. When I'm talking about a tree tag, there it is. When I'm talking about a tree guard, there it is. Next, please. Now, I had a bit of fun there too, because in May 2025, I'm walking west to George Savage Avenue, where I see some vehicles clearly from the town of Oakville. And I see a 4-person crew working, fussing about all the landscaping. I see this young lady at tag 0962. I approached her, introduced myself, and said, "What are you doing?" And she, well, I knew she was doing, she was holding pruning shears. And she's trimming shoots, baby shoots. And I said, "Why are you doing that?" And she goes, "Well, we have a maintenance program." And I thought, oh, okay. So I made it a point to note that between Dundas Street West, before hitting 16 Mile Drive, so I'm going to the left, Hibiscus Gardens, and I'm going to the right, Timberland Gate, and I counted 24 tagged trees. They're under a maintenance program. I did find one on Gladeside. There it is, tag 0876. And you can see from the tree suckers there that it missed the memo on maintenance. Next, please. Oh, that one. On September 17th, I took a picture to the left. On September 24th, not pictured, I see the containers absolutely empty. This is Preserve Drive. So I thought, okay, that's smart. Winter's coming, they're cleaning up. Then it's a Sunday afternoon, September 28th. I'm heading west on Dundas. I'm turning right on Preserve Drive, and I catch this at the corner of my eye.
Ms. Cornell, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just was a little bit concerned. I understand that you've got a substantial number of slides left, and you're running down in terms of time.
I am right now. Okay, so this is very important, because to me, is that they went out and replaced, I guess we went from an estival look to an autumnal look. It just goes to show the care that's being presented. So let's keep going then. I have a rehabilitation plan. I hope everyone's had the chance, because I submitted it on October 29th to review. What I think should happen, I'm not going crazy, I'm not asking for gazebos and island bridges. I'm just asking for like even a proper waste bin and a recycling bin. Next, please. Ah, yes. Spent a lot of time on that one. Renewal and rehabilitation. I'm not sure what the distinction is. And then we've got related facilities. We've had 15 yearly budgets, plenty of time and opportunity to have allocated funds to Gladeside, I think. Let's move on, please. I'm not going to go into that, but these are the measures I'm suggesting and the reasons why. Keep going, please. Keep going, please. So, you see the blue dotted line? This is what we need. I'm going to be bold and ask for concrete. Why? Because is it really a nature trail, or should it be part of the municipal sidewalk network? I'll be talking about that, about the sheer number of people inhabiting these 791 residential units. Next, please. So, I won't go into details here, but I'm suggesting there's at least 1,186 people, persons, living on the pond. Next, please. Why do we need it? Well, because for those living on Trailside Drive, they cut through the pond to go to these establishments, these facilities. That's very important. Next, please. Ah, yes, this is what it's like to walk on a path when it's been raining. Those are my flip-flop prints right there, that's me. To the far right, that's the water surfacing from my flip-flop print. Next, please. So I'm going back the next day. There it is. Now more people have stepped onto it. Next, please. There you go. Next, please. Where you see the double-sided arrow, there's the junction. That's what I call it. People cut through on a desired path to make their way to run east-west. It's a little bit of a safety hazard. Next, please. So what am I saying? I'm suggesting some trees planted for privacy wall when I'm walking along the path, looking at the units such as 3040 and 3062. I don't need to know what they're having for lunch, and I'm sure they're not appreciating me looking at them. So we've got a second entrance. That's concrete. Next, please. Chain link fence ends.
Ms. Cornell, could you speed up your set of slides? I think you've got another 15 of them or something, and you've run out. You've maxed out your time here, and I've given you a bit of extra time because we interrupted you a few times.
Okay,
but,
it's hard to gauge. So, well, I hope everyone's had a chance to look at them. Basically, what I'm saying is I would like the council to the budget committee to seriously consider working on the Gladeside Pond and what I like to refer to it as Oakvilling us, to give us a better look. Ultimately, it's not my pond, it's not anyone else's pond, but the town's. And I would like to think that it would invest money, time and effort and attention to what we look like. I think it's warranted with the sheer number of people accessing the pond setting.
Okay.
So
Thank you very much. Your material is available to members of council, so don't fear on that. I do have some questions for you before you depart. I'm going to start with Councillor Nanda and then go to Councillor Dudek and O'Meara.
Thank you through you, Chair Adams. Thank you, Ms. Cornell, for coming in today and presenting to us. I know there's been ongoing conversations regarding Gladeside Pond. My questions actually were going to be directed to if Director Mark was in the room, just to give us some information regarding the pond and some possible solutions that we have been discussing. And if he could just provide some of that information. Thank you.
Good evening, Chair Adams and members of council. That's a lot of information provided this evening. The Gladeside Pond was one of the first ponds that was built north of Dundas. It has been and continues to be impacted by what I would say adjacent development. So the pond, while it's been finished, it really hasn't been completely finished because all of the buildings around them are still developing. There is still the dead sod that was in one of the pictures shown by the delegate was actually damaged by one of the developers in the function of building their building. It was their sod, died, and they replaced it. A lot of the amenities that were shown for Spyglass Pond, George Savage Pond, Zachary Pond, those were put in by the developer. They were not put in by the town, they were put in by the developer at the time. And it's the developer's decision whether they would prefer to spend money or not spend money. Developers in the ponds that are the have ponds that the delegate has referred to them as have decided to spend money and beautify the community on their own. The developer at Gladeside Pond chose not to do that. They provided the functional stormwater pond and the trail around the pond. We have been trying to improve the maintenance around the pond this past year, I would say, or year and a half that we've had conversations with the delegate. We've cut more grass around the pond than frankly we should, but we are doing it because I recognize the north side of the pond is the sort of the front door, if you will, of those townhouses. We've planted more trees, we've installed signs, giving further direction to people about no littering, no feeding of geese, no feeding of wild animals. So I think we have actually picked up the maintenance around the pond in the last, I would say definitely this year. The condition of the trail, I grant you, it is getting on probably about 12 years old now. The gravel is coming to the surface and it is due for renewal. I was planning actually to put a top coat of limestone screenings on the trail around the pond this past summer, but we did hear from other members of the Gladeside community that they like the trail the way it is. There's been conversations about paving, and while that was still out in the public venue, thinking that this may come to budget committee, I didn't want to spend any resources in upgrading the trail this past summer because I was thinking this is exactly what would happen. There would be a delegate coming to budget committee, and I didn't want to do any upgrading to the trail if in fact council decided to spend more money such as asphalt or paving. So that's briefly the way it's been handled in the past. We are committed to maintaining around the pond, but a lot of the amenities, a lot of the features you see elsewhere were not paid for by the taxpayer.
Do I have the permission?
So are we going to be looking at, I think in some of our conversations, having to do more public consultation around the pond to see how the residents feel about what they would like to see there?
We could certainly do that. The public consultation I was most thinking about doing was the surface of the walkway around the pond because, as I'd mentioned, there has been a suggestion of asphalting the trail, but there's been a number of people who say they prefer to see it as limestone screenings. So that is certainly one thing that we should do some public consultation on before any investment is further made in the pond.
Thank you, Director Mark. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Councillor Dudek?
Yes, thank you very much. And I agree wholeheartedly with my colleague, Councillor Nanda, regarding public consultation, because as Mr. Mark had indicated, for everyone we hear from who says they don't want gravel, there's another who says they want asphalt. And so we try to balance the needs of people and their want. I'm very glad that you raised the issue of the development, because when I looked at the slides that were provided, and I also noted that trailside and that is still yet to come, I can see why it's been problematic to get some sort of final design elements in that area with the development going on. And as you rightly indicated, there's been poor conduct from some of the developers or their landscaping firms dumping things in the area. And I do appreciate hearing from Mr. Mark again that maybe some of the members of the public don't realize who pays for what. And it indicated earlier that the other one was with the developer. So my question would be, have we had any discussions with those developers in that immediate area to see whether or not they'd be willing to assist in some of the design elements that Mrs. Cornell was referring to? Do you know if we've had those discussions, Mr. Mark?
Through you, Chair Adams, no, we have not, Councillor Duddick, but certainly that could be a subject of consultation as well as public consultation.
Okay, because I think, again, if we had the public consultation and explained whose responsibility is what and the difference, because to the average eye, they do see one stormwater management pond being completely different from what they may have in their immediate neighborhood. So I think that would assist considerably. And again, if we reach out to the developers, it stands to reason that if they're wanting prospective buyers to come into the area, they'd want to enhance the area to make it more amenable to them. So thank you very much for the delegation and for bringing this to our attention.
Okay, we have a few more. Councillor O'Meara, you did have your hand up before. Are you satisfied with the response by Director Mark?
All good, Chair. Thank you.
Very good. I've got two more for you then. Councillor Elgar and then Councillor Chisholm.
Thank you very much. Through you, Chair. Am I on? Yeah, Chair. Chair Adams. With regard to getting the community involved, going forward, can we ensure that letters are mailed to the addresses with the people instead of dropped in the letter boxes? I've experienced some major problems this summer, as has Councillor Longo, related to a trail where it was paved. It was actually gravel before. Everybody loved it. And nobody seems to have realized that they got something in each mailbox, but it wasn't addressed to them like a letter would be. Like, as a town, with this one, when we do the public consultation, which I agree with what you want to do, can we somehow make sure that it gets mailed to the address?
Through you, Councillor Chair Adams to Councillor Argo, yes, absolutely. In fact, most of our mailouts, we try and direct it to the owner of the property.
I thank you for that, because it's caused a lot of issues for people on Trailside. Thanks.
Okay, Councillor Chisholm.
Thank you, Chair. Through Chair to Chris again. Chris, just a couple of quick questions. With respect to this area, do we have anything in the forecast of our capital budget to develop this area within the year or two or whatever? Do we have it in the budget?
Through you, Chair Adams, we have nothing in the 10-year forecast at this time for this particular area.
Okay, and I would assume that we don't have any kind of a mini plan for that area, mini master plan for that area. So we don't have anything on record for development. Is that correct?
I would say that we certainly within our operating budget can make some minor improvements. A bench here, bench there is certainly not a problem. We've added a number of benches. In fact, we have an entire capital budget on trail accessibility that we're adding benches on. So we can certainly do some minor improvements within our operating budget. I would say maybe in the the $5,000 to $10,000 range, but there's absolutely no kind of a master plan or anything that we have for any major additions in terms of any kind of infrastructure.
So one would assume is that we can work this within the operating budget to make some improvements, whether it be the walkway or tree planting, whatever the case may be. So it's not like we're being derelict and not looking at this property or this area. We could put something forward to do some adjustments in the budget for the future. Is that doable?
Certainly the improvements that we've made so far have all come out of our operating budget. things like asphalt paving or concrete of the walkway around the pond would certainly not be an operating. That would be a capital item in the future. Gazebos and things like that, they're probably in the range of $75,000 to $125,000. That would not be in our operating budget. That again would be capital. So I think we really need to go out to public consultation and see exactly what people would like to see and likely return back to council with a report. And if it's possible to get some of these funded by area developers, that would be wonderful. If not, then it would be certainly up to council to decide how they would like to spend their money around the pond.
Okay, thank you very much, Mark. Chris, sorry.
Okay, Councillor Shi. Councillor Scott Shi, can you?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you, Jan. Thank you for your delegation. You bring this attention to our budget committee. I have a question for Director Mark. So talk about the public consultation. So how soon we can start for this?
I would suggest that would likely start in probably late Q1 of next year. People are pretty busy from now on into the new year, so I think we would likely start something towards the end of January, February timeframe, so that you know, it's probably a better time of year and people are around.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Councillor O'Meara, did you have a question now?
I do, yeah. Sorry about that, Chair. Thank you. I guess it's a question maybe to Director Mark or even Jonathan. It sounds to me like this gets into the DC conversation, and we hear all the time just lower DCs and housing costs will go up, but then these types of things come to all the taxpayers of Oakville. Because the developer didn't want to do it, because we didn't get the DCs, or we didn't plan, or the developer didn't plan for the trail and network system that other people do, the town of Oakville now and all of the taxpayers have to now fund capital parks and trail systems and do that because the DCs weren't collected to do that, or because it wasn't in the plan that the developer wanted. So I guess my question is that correct? Was that a decision that the developer made to not have a lot of these things that other places did? And then my other question is, stormwater ponds are not meant to be recreational areas, from what I understand. They're meant to serve a purpose of floodwater management and these sorts of things. Some developers decide to make it that way, but is this a recreational pond? Is this something that was always meant to be a park area, a recreational area, or was this meant as an infrastructure element to disperse floodwater when it comes and when it goes, and anything else around the edges that wasn't planned by the developer or wasn't planned with the town when the development was created is all separate and has to be dealt with because it wasn't dealt with at the time of subdivision application?
Through you, Chair Adams. First of all, it was the decision of the developer who installed the pond to do, I would say, the basics. And the basics are exactly what we have there today. We have a pond that's a functional pond with a walkway around it. Oakville, we have always treated stormwater management ponds as both a necessary of stormwater management, but also as a recreational feature in the community. Going along Upper Miller Road, which were the first ponds, you'll see trails all around those ponds. We connect trails north, south, east, and west, and also around the pond. So I would say that they are as much as a recreational feature, at least the way we've treated them here in Oakville, as they are a stormwater function. And again, it is up to the developer who is designing the community whether or not they want to add any of these features as part of their community, and that's often done through the urban design process.
So are we not able then to have a minimum standard then, so that they're all treated equally, rather than one deciding they don't want to do something and the others deciding we're going to do something? Do we not have the ability again, the ship might have sailed on this one, but do we not have the ability to say moving forward, we have a threshold here, and whether they want to or not, this is going to be the standard because all the other ones do it, and we're not going to let a developer chintz out of what they should be doing for the community? Do we not have that ability?
Certainly, everything that is built in the subdivision is certainly a decision of council. So it's possibly a good idea as these developments and these ponds are coming forward that it's noted to council what is being provided around the pond. That is an additional item around the pond that is not part of the program.
Thank you very much, Director.
It's a
Thank you,
council
Chair.
decision. I see our CAO has a comment.
There's a few more comments here.
I was going to add to Director Mark's comments. The design of the stormwater ponds are, there is a standard requirement that we have set out through the draft plan conditions of what a pond is to look like. And so Gladeside Pond in that area is built to that standard. I think that's what Chris had said. And so in the other locations, and it's not subject to development charge, it is a cost that the developer has to pay. It's part of their local contribution, just as building a sidewalk is within a plan. So the developers are responsible for a base requirement, which has been done in Gladeside. The other ponds, the developers had decided at their cost to add other elements into it that enhanced it, enhances it for their developments in those other areas. And that's why you have the differential between the two. But we have set a baseline, and that is what's been built at Gladeside. I would note that as Chris had noted, that there still is development happening in the area. I think there's another development right beside the 392 trail side, that development that is still developing, which will have an impact on what the pond will look like at the end when that development has been completed.
Councillor Amira, I hope that's satisfactory to you. Councillor, how's that feel?
Thank you, through you, Chair Adams. First of all, thank you for your delegation, and as you can have heard, you're caught a bit in the, it's not necessarily in our hands. It was an earlier element, and the developer has a whole lot of choices that they make. But further to CAO Closey's comments, it's exactly where I wanted to go. There's an image that shows us at the very beginning the land that is now vacant. Can it be pulled up?
Oh, for God's sakes.
I believe that's the presentation material that you're talking about, maybe
Correct.
in slides
It's
1,
at-
2, or 3.
It's in the very beginning. It's probably slide 2 or 3. Yep, there. So the land, sorry, the next, go back one, I think. So there is an image that shows, I believe it's the district trailside condos and development. The land that's beside those is it got an application even in?
Through your chair, Adams, I am not sure, Councillor Heselthea. We'd have to get back to you on that.
Okay, but is it the same developer who owns the trailside condos?
I believe it is district, yes.
Okay, so district owns the condos that are developed, and district has a parcel of land that they will ultimately want to develop, which is, so the conversation really is with district around how do you want to present, when you use the phrase trailside, I think Ms. Cornell's saying doesn't feel like trailside. So I would concur that she's appropriately asking us, you know, if something could be done. We may not be able to put it in the budget. There may be some accommodation that can be made in the operating side, but it really is a conversation with the developer. That's the chair's.
Yeah, I did. So thank you very much for the information. You've now heard a whole lot of conversation and questions spurred from your material. Is there anything else that you want to share with us? If not,
Just a few things. This gentleman there referred to the fact that nothing has been Sorry, nothing has been
I'm
done.
sorry, we can't hear you, and certainly those
Okay.
online can't hear you.
So let me repeat myself here. Thank you for the advice. This gentleman here made the comment that because of, which way are we going to go with Glades-Side Pond, that nothing has been done. I'd like to direct council to know that on October 15th, you came in with limestone screening, and that's why I'm referring to that picture when it's raining. I don't weigh a lot, but I managed to just sink into that limestone that day. That slide, I'm sure it can be found again. You all each have a copy of it. So, yeah, so they came around October 15th, and a little bit of an amusing note here. I hate to complain, because every time I complain, sure enough, there's a gravel truck pulling up. Don't want any more gravel, sir. No more gravel.
Thank you. We've heard
No
that. We understand that. Thank you very
Please.
much for the information.
Thank you so much.
We have the slides and other material that you've sent us previously, so we appreciate all of that. Council will be hearing a number of other delegations, obviously, this evening and on Thursday. We expect to then be making recommendations to the mayor on November 27th, and ultimately considering a budget on December 15th. So those are the next steps in our process
I
here.
hope everyone's had a chance to review the slides. A lot of work has gone into this. A lot of work.
Yeah, I assure you that we have that material. Okay. Thank you very much for that. Our next delegation this evening is Franz Fournier from the Oakville Chamber of Commerce. Welcome. We look forward to your information. You have up to 10 minutes.
Mayor Burton and Council, I'm going to start by saying if Council starts to deliberate between gravel and concrete, I hope it'll be permeable concrete. My name's Franz Fournier. I'm the president of the Oakville Chamber of Commerce, and I thank you for the opportunity to present tonight on behalf of the Oakville Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors and our members. I want to commend Council and the staff for the progress made in shaping the stormwater management program. The proposed 4-year phase-in and the 75% discount reflect thoughtful engagement with the community and an understanding of the economic realities local businesses face today. That said, we also continue to hear concerns from our members regarding the financial impact and the timing of the implementation. We continue to respectfully recommend that Council defer the introduction of the stormwater charge to 2027. This additional time will allow the town to finalize the credit program design, expand community engagement, and ensure a smoother transition for affected property owners. We further encourage Council to establish a cap on total program costs for large commercial and industrial properties to provide predictability and fairness across property classes. Expand and increase credit allowances for measurable environmental improvements, such as on-site stormwater retention, permeable surfaces, and green infrastructure, to better align environmental and economic objectives. The Chamber, as I said in my earlier presentation to Council, the Chamber supports the town's intent to balance environmental stewardship and fiscal responsibility. The refinements proposed above would straighten the program's long-term success, safeguard business competitiveness, and reflect the collaborative spirit that defines Oakville. We remain committed to working closely with Council and town staff to help achieve a fair, effective stormwater management framework for our community. Thank you for presenting tonight.
Thank you for your brief comments and materials. We appreciate your thoughts. Any questions from members of council? I don't see any. I think you've been very clear. Thank you very much for your information. It will be considered as part of the thoughts from council. Our third delegation this evening is Rafael Correa da Silva. Welcome. We look forward to your information. You have up to 10 minutes. And if you need to adjust that microphone, by all means do so.
Thank you.
There, yeah, you might need an extra 6 inches, and if anybody else is speaking, you might need 12 inches less.
Do you want me to start, or do you want to go? You're okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good evening, Mayor Burton and councilors. My name is Rafael Correa da Silva. I'm here representing the families with kids living around the Worthington Park that's located in the Bronte area. Worthington Park, it's a little parkette situated between Lakeshore Road West and Marine Drive. The closest intersection would be 3rd Line and East Street. I'm here to discuss the proposal of a playground on this little park for the young kids, so they don't have the.
Let's go to the next slide.
All right, next
then
slide. Sorry.
That's okay.
Sure.
Okay, so currently, these are the parks that are in closest proximity to Worthington Park, where we live. And as you can see, there's 4 parks that are fairly close, under a kilometer, but we have to cross Lakeshore to get there. And yeah, 2 major roads. Lakeshore, Thornlea, we actually have to cross Lakeshore and 3rd Line to get to. And then Marine Drive, which also has, on the next slide you'll see, sorry, for Marine Drive there's no crosswalk in the immediate area, and it goes 50 kilometers an hour. Actually, our first day in Oakville, we saw a child get hit by a car there on Marine Drive because there's a lot of blind spots and people just go flying down there. So it's not a safe street to cross, as well as Lakeshore Road. As you can imagine, it's pretty fast moving as well. And the sidewalk in that area is at level with the road. So it actually makes me nervous walking even to the crosswalk, which is at just before East Avenue. Or you have to go to 3rd Line to just go north. So yeah, just walking even along Lakeshore to get to the crosswalk feels a bit dangerous because cars do go fast there.
Next slide, please.
He
Okay.
put together this very makeshift, beautiful park that really brought our community together, as you can see from the picture. And in this short time that we had the parkette open that he put together, I'm very proud of him, we met people that we didn't even know existed in the community. Families came out. Everyone was saying how special of a place it had become again, like it was alive again, the community. There's a few quotes there from people who we spoke to. Even the people who didn't have kids anymore said that it was so nice to see everyone out.
Is that Amy?
That's you, yeah, that's her in the sand pit. It really brought everyone together. There were even grown-ups at night who would come together. Some family members brought Muskoka chairs, and people would gather in the evenings. Parents with their kids, but even not parents, our neighbors around all came together. But yeah, you can see that one of our next-door neighbor, immediate next-door neighbor, told us that this was a selling point when she bought her townhouse next to us, as she saw this community vibe and a really nice community feel. Yeah.
Next slide, please. So here are some ideas for play structures or playgrounds that you are pursuing. Just something, it's a little park, so we're looking for something simple, open-ended play, inclusive for all ages and abilities, since we have kids of all ages in that block.
Big kids and little kids.
Yeah, and that's all. Next slide, please.
That's it. Oh, yeah.
So this slide was supposed to be a video made by our Max, that's a kid in our community, that shows some facts, what a play structure would help the kids.
here says that the average 8-year-old spends 6 hours a day on screens, and a playground would definitely help them spend more time outside. And yeah, and a playground there would avoid our kids to cross the major roads, Lakeshore and Marine. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I know we've had some conversations about this location, and Councillor McNeice, you're in charge of that. So how about we ask you to ask your questions?
Thank you, through you, Chair Adams, and thanks for bringing out a sample of the neighborhood tonight. You did a great job up there. I'll have some questions for Director Mark at the appropriate time, so he can start making his way up. But maybe you could just describe the neighborhood a little bit more. Demographics, types of dwellings there. Maybe you can explain your own neighborhood. I'll talk to Director Mark later on, but I know there's a lot of townhouses, sort of kids. If you could give your perspective of it, that'd be great for council.
Us?
Yeah.
Okay. So the Worthington Park is surrounded by 3 condos, is it? Of townhouses. And in the past few years, lots of newer families coming in. Again, previous to that little makeshift playground, we didn't know that, but now we know that there are lots of little families in the neighborhood. So
Playground was shut down.
Yeah, so we haven't seen them again until, we don't see them in the playground as much anymore because it is just an open space, but sometimes. Yeah, so I don't know how many, just in our condo, we have 23 units. Is that right? 22 units. And then the one beside us has I'm not sure, I don't remember the numbers.
So the block around that park, there is many townhouses, condo townhouses. I would say around 5 or 6 complexes, and each one around with 30 units each. So, yeah.
A mix of young families and people who have been there for a while.
Sure. Yeah, and I can certainly attest to that. I know we bumped into you on Halloween and got the highest concentration of kids there in Ward 1, in my opinion. So it's we do well when we take my 4-year-old there. So it's it's an older area. I think it's fair to say. This type of park is maybe if Director Mark's there, maybe if he can just elaborate on this a little bit more, but I would say it's the type of park that nowadays, if we were to build, it would be a POPS, it'd be a privately owned public space, but back in the 70s, when something like this was built, that option wasn't available to us, and it's not something that we kind of go backwards and try to arrange. Is that fair to say?
Through you, Chair Adams, I would agree with you, Councillor McNeice, yes.
Okay, and currently we've got lawn, maybe a garbage pail, and that's about it in this park. Yeah. Director Mark too? Yeah.
I will confirm, yes, we have a couple of garbage pails. There are some trees.
There's a couple trees, yeah.
Yeah,
That's good.
It's a small parkette.
Okay. And I think your point on the distance to the nearest park, we sort of do it based on a map, and we do a radius, but you've brought up some good points that Lakeshore Road's not something you want to jaywalk with your kids, and once you get to the crosswalk, you're walking away from the park quite a distance, and my calculation's about 1,300 meters, over a kilometer to get to some of those nearest parks. It would also require you going through a private school, the Christian school, which, Chris, if you could confirm, we don't have a public easement through that school.
That is correct, Councillor McNeice.
Okay. And to Director Mark, do we have, I know we've done site visits, stuff like that. Do we have a cost estimation, or are we still working on what it would be? I know they're looking for basic equipment, nothing grandiose.
Councillor, before you keep going with Director Mark, we've got a gang here. I just want to make sure that if you've got questions for them, that we can direct their questions to them. And we'll spend as much time as we need to with Director Mark afterwards, perhaps.
For sure. I'll just thank them for bringing this to our attention. It's, certainly getting the kids off screen time is something that we're all trying to do. And I think you've demonstrated placemaking and things we want to do. And thank you for trying to work with us on finding a solution. So we'll delegate among council a little bit more, but I'm good with the group there.
Councillor Dudek and Councillor Oakville, do you have questions of the delegates, or do you wish to speak to our staff? Okay.
Staff.
Very good. Okay. Councillor Knoll, did you have a question of the delegations?
I do. I'm wondering if Max could circulate his video by email for us, since I understand it was not formatted correctly. If he could send it to members of council at oakville.ca, then we'd be able to actually see the video. I would hate to see that he did all that work for nothing.
Okay. Thank you very much for your delegation. As I said previously, the information from tonight and on Thursday will go to Council's consideration on the 27th of November, where we'll make a recommendation to the mayor on the direction of the budget, and then a final decision on the budget will happen in December on the 15th is our expectation right now. So thank you very much, and we're going to continue some questions of our staff, but if you guys would like to have a seat again, you're welcome. Okay, Councillor McNeese, go ahead. We'll continue with the discussion with Councillor.
I'm good for now.
Okay,
Thanks.
very well. Councillor Dudek, and then Councillor Elgar.
Thank you. Through you, Mr. Chair. I wonder if staff can give some sort of overall idea. I'm driving along Marine Drive. I know there is a little parkette that has some playground equipment in it. I don't know if it's closer to, I want to say Nelson maybe. Can Mr. Mark maybe refresh my understanding of what is in there?
Through you, Chair Adams, I think you're referring to Marine Drive Park on Marine
Yeah.
Drive, and it's about 850 meters from Worthington Park.
Okay, and it's got some playground equipment in it, correct?
Absolutely, yes, it does.
Is this parkette in comparable size, or I guess my concern is the expectation in terms of equipment in that, whether or not the size can accommodate it for safety purposes?
Certainly, through you, Chair Adams, we have attached an appendix to the November 27th agenda, where we have estimated the size of the playground that we think could be accommodated within the parkette. So yes, we can reasonably accommodate a playground there.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, just to remind you, it's Appendix G on the October 21st agenda if you're looking for the staff material on this location. Councillor Elgar?
Thank you very much, through you, Chair Adams. Director Mark, currently I know we're replacing park equipment in a couple of parks. And in one of them that's being replaced, could that material be repositioned at this park? Because it's not worn out completely. I know we're refurbishing, but could we not move the slides and some of that nice equipment for young kids to that park?
Through you, Chair Adams, we prefer not to do that. Playground equipment does have a life cycle. If you're referring to parks such as Windrush Park that we're right now doing in this fall, that's about 25 years old. I would not recommend, as your director of parks, to be taking playground equipment and recycling it.
Okay, it sure looks pretty good. I was looking at it today again, and I thought, you know, there's life left in it, but I appreciate it. Because I thought it might solve a problem temporarily for a couple of years until you could get a new replacement stuff in there. Just slides or something. They don't have to be the big ones and the swings. Okay, thank you.
I expect that some of the labor and installation costs is part of what would stop us from doing that. But Councillor McNeese and then Councillor O'Meara.
I'm happy, seeing I'm a second go, I'm happy to defer to Councillor O'Meara.
Councillor O'Meara, would you like to take a shot?
Thanks. Just a question to Director Mark. Do we not have a policy or a process in place where we proactively look at where we're lacking parks and you know, it's every 5 years or something, like, or have we not got a heat map of where people are and where parks are, and they're all within a certain like what's our long-term sort of planning strategy with regards to where we put parks?
Through you, Chair Adams, Councilor Bear, are you referring to a park as in a creative playground equipment or a park as in a large green area? Because people
Well, let's
use
put
the
it in the
word.
context of what we're discussing now,
Okay.
where kids want some playground stuff.
So every 5 years when we do the Parks Rec Library Master Plan, we do look at the distribution of playgrounds townwide. And if there's any gaps in that area, that is when it is recommended that a playground be added to the system. It was done again in the last one in 2024. It was not picked up as Worthington because there is a playground at Thornley, which we deem to be about 390 meters from Worthington. There's some debate about how that number is derived, but that is the way we've done it and done it the same over the last 4 master plans that I'm aware of. So yes, we do proactively, every master plan, look at where playgrounds are needed based on, and we look at splash pads as well.
Okay, and then my last question is just about public consultation, and I understand the genesis. We saw some really, what I find very sweet pictures of a sandbox and some things with some young kids, but from what I understand, that wasn't very well received from all the community in the neighborhood. So how do we go about making sure that, well, people don't have a veto on this, but they're consulted? I mean, is that, would that be a part of this process?
Through you, Chair Adams, certainly that is our recommendation to council, is that we do public consultation on the playground during 2026, because there has been some people that have come forward who have expressed concerns about having a playground there. They would rather not see a playground there. So we need to delve into that further, and that's all part of the public consultation that we would undertake and come back to council with a report and for further council consideration.
Okay, and I know we use public consultation as sometimes as a bit of a checkbox, but what sort of thresholds or sort of, I mean, if you've got 10 angry people who are shaking their hands at clouds and say we don't want kids to play in a playground, what do we do? How do we mitigate, you know, what we take as you know, okay, we know you don't like it, but this is the path we're going. What's our process in terms of hearing people who are against it, but also weighing what we believe is best for the town and for the community that lives there?
Through you, Chair Adams, we would hear each individual out and make a professional recommendation to council. Often in these situations, we try and work together with both sides to negotiate a positive outcome. But at the end of the day, we would come back to council as your staff to give you an opinion, and at that point in time, council can make a decision, but we would provide you a recommendation.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, Councillor McNeese.
Thank you, Chair Adams. So I know that our map sort of points out 350 meters, and I think the point is the delegates have noted that that's across you know, Lakeshore Road, and it's a sort of a detour to get there. The other concern I have is in about 2 years we have Lakeshore Road reconstruction happening through Bronte, which is going to make Lakeshore even harder to navigate and parks even further. And it's, you know, based on downtown, it could be a multi-year sort of construction project. I also have concerns that that's going to now divert traffic down to Marine Drive and make that even busier. And I think we heard from some of the delegates that's becoming, you know, Sean and I were just at Ennisclare last night with 100 residents letting us know that Marine's getting busier and busier and more unsafe. With Lakeshore Road closed or partially restricted, that's going to be a problem. So the next 5 years or so, it's going to become harder to get to some of these parks, especially the ones that are noted within the 800 meters. Now a question, I think I asked it earlier, but the cost of it, have we figured out ballpark around, and I understand it has to be new and potentially insurance reasons, things like that. I mean, I'm sure the group would be okay with some refurbished equipment, but you know, we'll obviously take your recommendation. Are we getting to a better understanding of potential costs?
Through your chair, Adams, what we've done is we've just taken, on a cost per square meter, what we're seeing tendered values of playgrounds that we're putting in today, both through development as well as rehabilitations. So the size of the playground that we've estimated for that park would be $170,000.
Okay, and that's how many pieces of equipment do we know, or?
I cannot, I
Okay.
would say it would be a junior, senior playground with some accessible features. We've not got anywhere near close to a design
Okay.
at all.
And we'll get that in, sorry, because it's not in Appendix G from, so it'll come to us before the 27th?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you very much. I think we're done with that one. I don't have any other registered delegations this evening. I'm going to call from the floor if there's any other members of the public here who would like to provide information to us. Going once, going twice, sold. Okay, we don't have any other delegations this evening. Just checking with the clerk. Yeah, okay. So for members of council, we will take a motion then that the presentations from the delegations regarding the 2026 operating and capital budget be received. If I could get Councillor Knoll and Councillor Thiel, are you seconding it or are you asking a question?
Through your, I'm prepared to second it, but I do have some additional items that the director asked me to make sure I asked in the public realm.
Excellent. I'm so glad that you brought that up now, because now is the right time to do that. So before we vote on it, then let's make sure that we've covered any additional questions or requests of staff that are out there.
So thank you through you, Chair Adams. Further to my email request, I wanted, on behalf of the Downtown BIA and residents who have come forward and asked to understand the cost of installing a tap-to-pay station in our downtown parking garage. It is currently a honk-only application, so we'd like to understand what it would cost to put in a singular tap-to-pay station. The second request is to provide the cost of replacing the digital display boards in downtown with a directory. And for further clarification, we have digital information boards that were a step up and were part of the streetscape plan. However, they do not provide the ability to list our businesses. While there may be some argument some would put forward that is advertising, it is in fact helping the downtown businesses and our visitors and Oakvillians know what is available as they enjoy downtown. So understanding what it would cost to replace what's there or to enhance it to provide a directory is the second request. And the third request is to provide the cost of improving our wayfinding signage. The wayfinding signage that was put in since the very beginning, we have raised the issue that the font size as you drive is not effective, and it doesn't direct people. It didn't meet the intent. And so finding and understanding the cost of replacing those would be beneficial not only for downtown, but as you explore what you want to do on Kerr and in Bronte. So those are my requests, and if they could be added to the list, I understand individuals are already working on reports for them.
Okay, thank you very much. Just want to make sure our staff are comfortable with the wording of that, and to make sure that we're also including the source of funding if there's a request for funding. If these are BIA requests, I want to make sure that we're making sure that we're going to the right bucket of money for them.
So for clarification, they are not specific BIA requests. They are a respect for the cost. If the BIA ultimately, if we cannot find the funds to do what the town provides and adjust it, the BIA would obviously have to consider it. But in my view, these are town items that they were town installed, and we need to understand what it would take to improve them.
Yep, that's great. Thank you very much. Councillor McNeese, did you have some additional requests for information?
Yes, thank you, Chair Adams. Something I may not have submitted in the proper channels, I'll just put on public record, but there's been a request from the public to understand the cost of opening the waterfront washrooms an hour earlier at 6 a.m. We have a lot of early morning walkers out there year-round. So if we could, just the parks, have a better understanding of the cost. I understand we don't have staff on call at that time, so there's a slight staffing change that would be required. Thank you.
Okay, are staff comfortable with that response? Okay. Any others? Councillor Dudek, I just wanted to make sure that your questions about transit were satisfactorily captured, and if our...
Thank you very much, Chair. Yes, Transit had made note of all the questions I had previously, and when we had been afforded the opportunity to talk to staff last week, it was very helpful, and he was able to make note of them at that time.
Okay, thank you very much. And staff, are you comfortable with that work? I understand that the transit team are working on some stuff behind the scenes on that. Correct? Yeah, okay. All right, I don't see any others. Then I'm gonna take the motion. Any objections to that? I see none, and so that is carried. Thank you very much, everyone, for your time, attention, and great level of questions that came through. We do have our next meeting on Thursday morning. At the moment, I don't think we have any delegations, and so that may be a fast meeting, but if there are some additional requests for information from council members to go to the November 27th meeting, that would be a great time to bring them up so our staff can prep the material for you. Okay, with that, there are no confidential discussion items. We're adjourned, and we'll see you on Thursday morning.